Hey guys, this is Jason from Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about your mess kit, your cook kit. Right here you see what I've used over the years. Now I am just using these three things at this point, but we're going to get into the evolution that led up to me just bringing these. We're going to talk about all these different things because usually what people do is they get a cook kit that is way too big for what they need, and then they end up getting something else later. So to save you some money, just bear with me and hear my little story on what I did, so maybe I can save you some money here. Now, the first thing I did was I went out, and what I usually did was I was just camping. Okay, I would cook on the fire, out of this pan right here. Whether it be steak, eggs, potatoes, any kind of like oatmeal, everything would go in here and would go on the fire. This was before I owned a stove. Now, don't get me wrong, you can put this on a stove and it'll cook fine. This is a stainless steel MSR pot. I think it's a Seagull. Yeah, a Seagull. I believe this is 775 mil. And this worked great. However, stainless steel is a bit heavy. And I was also bringing this kit with me because, like I said, I wasn't backpacking at this point. I was just camping. And in here, this is a Light My Fire little cook kit. It has a strainer, it has a little bowl for soup, it has a spoon and a fork all together, and this is all plastic. So, as you can see, this first system I had took up quite a bit of room in my pack. Alright, so as I was trying to lighten my load here, I took a look at smaller things to bring, and I ended up getting this this pot right here. This is a Toaks titanium pot, and this is 1100 mils with the lid, and it also doubles as a pan, a small pan. And then I would bring my cup for coffee in the morning. And this is also titanium. This is a Toaks titanium 450 mil cup. So coffee, soup, whatever, cook like bacon, one strip at a time on here, and this would cover me for any kind of water that I need to boil, or rice, or really anything. You cook steak in here. It was perfect. It was fine. However, I started to get really into, making the pack size of my cook system even smaller. So this worked great. I could stuff everything in here. I could even put my alcohol stove in here if I needed. My spork could go in here. But again, I wanted to have a smaller pack size. So I ended up with just this little tiny pot. This is again a Toaks titanium 700 mil pot. Titanium is incredibly light. It weighs next to nothing. It is a bit expensive comparatively if you look at stainless steel pots that hold a lot more water. I think just off the top of my head this was $40 and this was I think $15 or $20. I can boil all my water in here for any meal that I want while I'm backpacking, at least what I'm cooking. I can drink my coffee out of here. So it's multi-function. I can purify my water, I can boil water and cook, and I can also drink my coffee, which is a staple for me when I go out backpacking. I just enjoy coffee in the morning. So, this is fine. It doesn't take up a lot of room comparatively, but it's more than I need. So, right off the bat, my recommendation is figure out what kind of food you want to cook. And just get exactly what you need. You don't need to go crazy on here. You don't need to bring a cast iron skillet, especially while you're backpacking. It's just going to weigh you down. It's going to take up pack space. And when you're backpacking, normally you're just rehydrating meals. You're cooking oatmeal or rice, or for me, I cook couscous, and I add a little bit of tuna in there and some salt. And this is really all I need. Now, as far as the silverware that I use, I started out with this multifunction. It has a spoon on one side and a fork on the other side. As I continued to use this, I realized that I really never use the fork side. I always just use the spoon size because, let's be honest, if you're eating Mountain House or oatmeal or, again, couscous or rice or whatever, you're just going to spoon it out. I mean, you can use the fork, but for me, again, it's not really necessary. So another product they make is this. This is a spork. It's a spoon and fork combo. Again, this is a Tokes product. I'm really biased by Tokes. They make great products. I've never had a problem with them. They have great customer service. And they just have a lot of options to choose from for a decent price. And the reason why I really like this spork is because I can fold it up and I can kind of just throw it in my pot. I can even put my alcohol stove in here and my windscreen. Speaking of windscreens, here is the evolution of my windscreens that I got. You can see I started off with this really, I think this is like 4 or 5 ounces. It's not bad. It's just a folding windscreen. You can get these on Amazon. They're very cheap. I think they're like $9 or something. This works great. You can even cut this down if you want. But what I ended up doing was, this was again a little too much for me. So to save some weight, I ended up getting this little Vargo folding windscreen. Doesn't take up much size. I can throw it in my pot. It works out perfectly. As you can see, I cannot put this one in my pot. That kind of irks me because I like all my cook stuff to be together. When I'm ready, I just pull out the whole cook kit. I can get my stove out, my windscreen, my spork, and the pot, and I'm ready to go. Now, again, I wasn't satisfied with this, so what I did is Tokes, again, makes another product. It's just this flimsy piece of titanium. This titanium is very strong. It's not going to rip on you. And what I did is I chopped the top off so it could fit in my pot. And this is really all I need for cooking right here. So this, you're just going to have to play around with this. You're going to have to see what you're going to be cooking while you're out there. So if you're interested in buying this, you can find a ton of cook kits online on Amazon.com. You know, REI has them. Pretty much any outdoor store will carry this stuff. I'd say go titanium. You're going to be much happier in the long run just because of the weight. But there's one thing to keep in mind about titanium. Stainless steel will bring your water to a boil faster than a titanium pot or cup will. It's just the makeup of the metal. That being said, titanium is incredibly strong. You're not going to have to worry about it getting beat up. But some people want to bring stainless steel just because you can get off the trail, eat, and get back on the trail as soon as possible. For me, I need to force myself to take breaks, and I like the fact that this is very, very lightweight. So for me, the extra minute boil time, 2-minute boil time is perfectly fine for me. It's something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, once you've decided on your cook kit, your pot or your pan, your spork, and your windscreen. And while we're talking about the windscreen, you don't have to go out and spend any money on a windscreen. I recommend you bring one, but if you want to do it yourself here, I'll throw a link in the description box on this video on how to make an aluminum foil windscreen. They work fine, never had a problem with them. I just kind of prefer the titanium just because it's a little more durable than an aluminum foil windscreen. Aluminum foil windscreens are great, don't get me wrong. Just every once in a while, maybe like a dozen trips, you'll have to just remake it. It costs nothing though, but look in the description box for that DIY. Now, after you've cooked your food and you want to clean up, what I recommend is they have all these gimmicky, pot scrubbers, they have cloths, and don't bother getting any of that junk. All you got to do is, take something you already have. I'm sure if you have a sink at your house, you probably have like a scrubby or something like one of these. What you do is just take some scissors, cut it in half, throw it in here, and then you're done. You can use that to get all the gunk out of your pot. So again, don't spend any money on this. Just use what you already have around the house. Now, you could clean it again with this, but some of the problems that I ran into is sometimes I don't have enough water, and I don't want to waste any water on cleaning a pot. And if you're eating something like oatmeal, which I love in the morning, I love my my apple and cinnamon oatmeal. Anyway, what I do is cleaning up oatmeal out of a pot like this, it's absolutely miserable. It goes everywhere. It's hard to leave no trace for this. What I do is I simply just get a quart Ziploc freezer bag. Keyword is freezer bag. And what I'll do is, before the trip, I'll just open up the oatmeal or really whatever, couscous or rice, and I'll just, I'll throw that stuff in here. Okay, leave this at home. Alright, and when I'm ready, I will take my boiling water and I will put the water into the Ziploc bag, and I'll just eat out of here. The freezer bags can withstand boiling water, and they're also BPA free, which is really good. Just make sure you get the Ziploc freezer bags, and I'll just put it back in my pot when I'm done. I'll fold the edges around the pot, and I'll just simply, eat out of here. I mean, it's the same thing. You're eating out of a pot. It's lined with a bag. And what that'll do for me is it'll allow me to take the trash and just kind of pack this out, throw it in my garbage bag that I bring with me, my gallon Ziploc freezer bag, and I can pack it out, and there's no mess to clean up. My pot is clean, and I have no issues with this. It may be a little uncivilized to eat out of a freezer bag, but hell, it saves me from having to clean up anything. The only thing I really have to clean up is my spork, so that's great for me. There's not much to this, guys. It depends on if you want to spend the money on very light cook kit like titanium. Some great brands here. We've already talked about Toaks. There's Vargo. I think Light My Fire has a couple good spoons out there, but for the most part I just prefer Toaks just because they're very durable. I've been using them for years now, and I've never had an issue with them, so I'm kind of just biased on Toaks. But feel free to look around, have a look. So guys, that's pretty much it. Just kind of figure out what you need and size accordingly. Don't go overboard here. There's no need for that. So guys, this is just what I use. It's not necessarily what I'm telling you to use. This is just what works for me. You're going to have to kind of play around with pot sizes and to see whatever you need. If you have any comments, questions, or you're on the fence on what to do here, just go ahead and comment below, leave me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody.